Hey, here we are. We're live with another property finance Q&A. Good morning. Here we are with my trusty cup of tea there. So, hey, here we go. You know, if you've seen this before, what we do, we jump around on a, well, I don't jump around. I sit quite still, really. I'm just adjusting my camera angle there a bit. So, jump on, hang around for 30 minutes or so, sometimes more, sometimes less. You fire some questions about the genre of property finance, because my brokering career and my mentoring career give me the knowledge to answer those. Excuse me. And that's what we do, jump on. And I'll tell you a bit about what's going on in my week. And there we go. And we do it all again next week. So there we are. Key thing to look at today is BRRboardroom.com under my name. Why is that? Because the last one for the foreseeable future is coming up this Saturday in Heathrow. Got 4 places left. There's only 10 places in the room, so it's a very tight room. What does that mean? You get my personal attention. There we are. And you can ask any question you like about BRR, and I'll give you loads and loads of information about how BRR really works. I mean really works. And that's from someone that's brokered literally hundreds of BRR deals. Yeah, it's time to park BRR boardrooms for several months. Got other stuff I'm doing. If you want to grab your last chance to do a BRR boardroom, come along. You can book on there. All day parking's covered. Decent lunch is covered. There'll be pre-event Zoom sessions this week. One on finding deals. I did one last week, and blimey, we found about a dozen deals in minutes that are great BRR deals. And then we do a BRR clinic. So we analyse what you found, and I'll tell you whether they work or not. So want to log on? Come on. So what are you up to this week? So I'll tell you what I'm up to this week. I've got a busy week. I'm down in Birmingham at the moment, and I'm going to be off to Stratford-on-Avon later today. Why is that? Because tomorrow and Wednesday we've got my 2 Ninja Achievers cohort accountability days. We meet up every month. They're partway through their 12-month mentorship. We meet up every month, and I check in with them on the stuff they told me a month ago they were going to do. So it's quite intense, really. They get accountability, and they get to why do they do stuff? Because they told a group of people a month ago they were going to do stuff. And you know what it is? Personal pride. You don't want to let yourself down in front of other people. It really works. And then I'm back in Birmingham and Sutton Coldfield on Friday to do the lower level mentorship group, Ninja Aspirers. We meet up once every quarter to support each other, share successes, brainstorm challenges, and then I'm down to Heathrow for Saturday's BRR Boardroom. So busy week, really busy week. And there we are. So what do you want to know? Fire your question and pop it in the chat, and because that's the basis of a Q&A, isn't it? People ask questions and the host gives answers. A pretty simple concept, really. Actually, it's one I've been running for coming up 6 years. Started in April 2020 as a response to being locked down, because that was the first COVID lockdown, wasn't it? A bit of a scary time, wasn't it? Looking back, it doesn't seem so right now, but it was a bit of a scary time. So hey, got a question? Fire it in. I can't answer if I haven't got a question. You know, some weeks we just don't have questions, and that's okay. I don't mind. I'll just rock up next week, and there'll be some questions there. But hey, there you go. So this goes out on YouTube. Get a lot of questions coming in through YouTube. Goes out on LinkedIn. Get a few questions on LinkedIn. Get quite a few questions through either my Kevin Wright Property Finance Facebook page, and there's also a Recycle Cash Facebook page as well. So yeah, gets in either of those. Talking about Recycle Cash, let me dig out a little link for you. See if I can find a link. What am I looking for? Let me tell you. I'm looking for my Recycle Cash Facebook group. Here we go. Just found that on a different screen, so I'm just going to cut and paste that. And I'm going to pop that up on the chat. There we are now. We've got the chat screen comments. Here we are. Let's open those up. Great. Here we are. So we've got a couple of people popped in with questions now. So great. Let's have a look at those. Steve, hello, Steve. How you doing? How's is it Plymouth you're in? How's Plymouth this morning? Do I still own buy-to-lets personally? No, I don't. I've got rid of them in my personal name over the last few years. Probably started divesting once I realised in 2016 what where that wind was blowing. So now it's limited company and through my pension. There you go. Thinking of selling mine to reinvest into my limited. Well, yeah, it's a route that many people have taken. Now, if you sell it, you got to pay capital gains tax. So you need to work out accurately what those are, what that liability is, and you probably need to get an accountant to do that accurately. And you're going to have to pay stamp duty when you buy. Now, whether you sell your properties to your limited company or you sell your properties in the wider market and then buy different properties, you're still going to pay capital gains tax when you sell, and you're still going to pay stamp duty, land tax when you buy. I guess you've got to work out the pros and cons, really. You know, and again, accountants help because it's all around tax, really. It's around what you can claim and what you can't. And of course, it's around your personal situation as well. Now, of course, I'm not an accountant, so I can't advise you on tax. Can't even really comment in an advisory capacity on tax. And I certainly wouldn't purport to do so. But you can analyse how much tax you would save if you owned the properties in a limited company, and how much tax you're going to pay to own properties in a limited company. So there we are. It's a decision that can only be taken individually, Steve, based on your own personal circumstances and with tax advice from a qualified person, I would say. So there we are. Good to see you here, mate. Good to see you here. P. Payne's coming in through Facebook. There we are. It's the Facebook crowd this morning. Good. Hey, got a question? Anything about property finance? Fire into it. I'm going to look at P. Payne's. But while I'm answering P. Payne's, if you've got a question, you just whack it in that old chat box, and I'll pick it up and answer it. And I won't leave until I've answered every question. And that's only a polite thing to do, isn't it? What is the best way to scale up my property? I only have one. Great question. And I know the answer. In fact, I know the exact answer. And how do I know that? Because I've been brokering the finance for it and teaching it and mentoring people on it for the last 20 plus years. The only real way to scale up property is by refurb, refinance. Buy, refurb, refinance. The way people come into it in an, should we say, an innocent and almost uneducated way is, I'll save up a 25% deposit and buy one. Or maybe they actually convert the house they currently live in and rent that out and buy a new main residence. But you're never going to scale that way. And very simply, because you can't save up 25% deposits. You'd have to be in like mega money income, salary, or whatever, to be able to realistically save 25% deposits. So it's never going to work in the real world. And I like to stay in the real world, not fantasy. I know some trainers sort of exist in a fantasy world, don't they, really? But I'm very grounded, I like to stay real. Now, let me give you a little steer. I've written a book on it called Buy, Refurb, Refinance. I'm going to get you the link to that book. You might want to go and buy it. It's available on Amazon, but it's also available on my website too. So let's find it on my website for you. Here we go. Just pulling up the website. Just order the book. That page. I'm going to cut and paste that now. Now, just waiting for it to load up, and then it will put it under my name. So there you go. So recycleyourcash.co.uk/BRR-book. Now, you can go and buy that book. And there's a massive amount of information in there on how to scale up property. But let me give you a synopsis to give you an idea of paying. So you need to look at dilapidated or problem properties that you can buy under value. You then add exponential value by solving the problem, and then you refinance out at the uplifted value that your improvements, your tangible improvements created. Now, nothing new about this. It's not some newfangled way of doing it. It's existed for decades. I've just taken on the mantle of being the person that brings it to you and teaches it to you. So, for example, buy a property. I'm thinking about one of my mentees, or a couple of my mentees, Jordan. I'm not going to give you dozens and dozens, but one that thinks of mine bought a property in Lincolnshire. Jordan and Elisa bought property, 95,000, spent 30,000 fixing it up because it was in a bad state. Got it revalued at 170, refinanced it at, what would that be, 135, I think, at 75% off the top of my head. Left 6K, left 6 grand in it. So pretty much all their cash that they invested on the refurb and the deposit was back in their bank. And now they're scaling up. They're now looking to buy a bigger deal. And they're negotiating with a landlord that wants to sell some flats. So why can they buy the flats? Because they got all their cash out of the property they bought. That's why. So this is fundamental. If you get this and you can learn this, understand it, and then move to mastering it, you can scale in a way that you never otherwise could. And I've got masses of experience of being able to do this. So there we are. Finding the great, okay, enjoying your participation. Finding the property to refurb is the challenge. Yes, I get that it is, because, and let me tell you why it's a challenge, P-Pain, because you don't know where to look. Simple as that. Now, when you know where to look, it is like falling off a log. Now, I do these little BRR deal finder sessions. I did one last week. But I was chatting to a guy that I did this for him. He was part of one of these sessions back in November, and you know, we do it for about a couple of hours. I'll show you exactly where these deals are. I mean, you probably wouldn't find them on Rightmove because you don't know how to search for them. That's not criticism; it's just an observation, because you haven't learned how to do that. Life is pretty simple. Everything you don't know how to do till you learn how to do it. You didn't know how to walk till you learned how to walk. You didn't know how to drive till you learned how to drive. So, no implied criticism there. But look, chatting to a guy called Roland last week, and he took part in this session, and within an hour, he found 23 properties to refurb. Yeah. So I understand why you think it's a challenge, but let me tell you, it is absolutely a walk in the park. Every time I do that exercise, I find a bundle of deals. I found down on the south coast, when I did the exercise back end of last week for one of the people I'm mentoring now, literally found literally a dozen deals. But you've got to know where to look. See, most people spend endless hours doom scrolling on Rightmove and Zoopla and not finding anything, because they're not targeted, they're not focused, they haven't eliminated all the stuff that won't work from their feed. But there's a process. Know the process. One-to-one mentoring will certainly work. Yeah, I agree, it does, works well. I tend to do mostly one-to-group mentoring rather than one-to-one mentoring. One-to-one mentoring is not really cost-effective use of my time. So I get it's too easy to get bogged down with that. But I do one-to-group mentoring. Yeah, at certain levels, but I've got different levels of interaction and mentoring and training. I think got about 8 levels really. But yeah. So depending where you live, you might I might be doing some little half-day events in the coming months. So maybe you want to pop along for a morning. I'll find out where you live. I'm not your address. I don't mean. I'm not going to stalk you. Yeah, well, I'm not actually running any of those sessions right now, unless you. Well, I could be, because BRR Boardroom. I'll be doing one of those sessions this week, but you have to be part of the BRR Boardroom now. BRR Boardroom. If you just go on that link there, P-Pain, BRR Boardroom, and you'll get a link to an event. Now, if you can get to Heathrow this Saturday, 31st of January, I do a pre-event session on that. You have a whole day on BRR, so I'll school you and increase your knowledge for a whole day, and you'll learn an incredible amount of information and I give you loads of case studies, like Jordan and Elisa just told you about. You'll see, that case study and probably half a dozen others. Real people that I've mentored and real deals with the numbers, so you can see exactly how they made those deals work. But pre-event Zoom session, I'm probably going to run that Tuesday or Wednesday evening, but it's not a standalone thing. It's part of this BRR Boardroom. Yeah, if we can hook up privately. I can message you via Facebook. We can chat on there. But if you can get down to Heathrow this Saturday, it's the last one I'm doing for a number of weeks or months. Actually, I won't be doing a BRR Boardroom for months. But so yeah, can you get down to there? I think I've got 4 places left. There's only 10 people maximum in that room, so you're going to get a lot of my personal attention on Saturday if that works for you. But we'll hook up during the day. Once I'm finished here, or you can message me privately. Let me show you how to message me privately. Yeah, private chat. Happy to do that. Yeah, we'll have a chat. I've got some time later, so we'll connect. We'll message each other privately. You can just go to. You can actually, while we're doing this, if you. Right, if you. No, that's not the one I wanted. Let me take that one down. Let me find you a link. I can message you, but you can also message me. Let's put you the link. Coming through Facebook, so it makes sense to keep it on Facebook. Let's put this link. There you go. So you're on Facebook. Just put Kevin. Search for Kevin Wright Property, P-Pain, and ping me a message. I'll respond, and we can take it from there. But I really appreciate your interaction this morning. And if you've got anything else you want to ask, different to that, there we are. But hey, look, just so you know, I've helped many people scale up. A number of them have built eventually built £1 million portfolios from a single pot of cash to start with. Doesn't happen overnight, and I'm not going to give you stupid promises that you'll do this in 6 months, because you won't. It will take longer than that, but I've got a track record of showing people how to do it, and then guiding and mentoring them to help them do it. So absolutely achievable. And we thanks for connecting. Here we are. And John, here we are. Hello, John. How you doing? What do I think about barn conversions to houses? Risky, potentially profitable, and good morning. Well, good morning. Yeah, but look, nothing new about barn conversions. Well, nothing that new about the principle of making a house out of a barn. They're pretty unique in terms of they appeal to people that want a different style of living. They don't want to live in a mundane, run-of-the-mill red brick house or that whatever type of brick house. They want something more individualistic, and it appeals to that type of person. They make quite pleasing abodes, don't they? Now, something that has changed in about the last 10 years is the ability to convert them without a full planning application, because those certain barns have been given permitted development rights. Now, if you need to understand more about that, then you can go to planninggeek.co.uk. Let me just give you the link for that. Run by my good friend and 100 Club honorary member Ian Walmsley. So I'm doing a lot of linking today, aren't I? I'm linking here, linking there. Well, let's have a look. We've got a super link here. Come up the planning link, permitted development. So, well, this will get you in the right steer anyway. You can see some of these. You might actually you might be able to just buy it and just go and do it. Don't need planning permission. You can just rock straight on and do it. Yeah, because it's about taking unused buildings and making them into residential properties. I'm going to just pop this in for you there. There you go. Planning Geek, 2gs.co.uk/GPDO. There we are, GPDO. That will just take you to, I mean, that website is over 500 pages. It's an encyclopedic appreciation of planning. So pretty much everything you need to know about planning is there. And actually, hey, don't say I told you this, but some planning officers go onto there to check what they're saying is correct. Now, yep. So, what do I think about them? Yeah, great. Probably the cost of converting it would be higher than if it was a standard construction. Mortgageability, no issues at all. Potentially profitable. Of course it is, but you need to buy it at the right price. You know how to do this. You need to do your maximum of a matrix formula on a barn conversion exactly the same you would any other property. You need to understand what the gross development value is, what the costs are of the conversion, and build in a nice chunky profit for yourself. Not a greedy profit, but an acceptable profit. And risky? Don't think so. You'd need to have builders competent with doing barn conversions, certainly. But yeah, not everybody wants to take a barn conversion on. Are you gonna live in it yourself? Possibly not. If you want to sell it, then yeah, it's a more finite market of people that want to live in the barn conversion. Would you want to rent it out? Probably not, because you're probably not going to get as good a return on your capital invested as a run-of-the-mill standard terrace or semi. So the risk is that you end up having to rent it and get a mortgage on it. So yeah, that would be the risk. So it's a smaller market, but done well. It's a bit like a listed building. It wouldn't be listed, but it's a bit like a listed building. Not everyone wants to live in a listed building, but those people will pay for the privilege of having a property because it suits their perception of themselves. There we are. You saw an episode of Homes Under the Hammer. Okay, well, yeah, okay. Chap converted them to luxury houses. Okay, so not a barn conversion, but taking a barn and turning it into multiple properties. Yeah, well, he made a stack of money. Yeah, yeah. So I believe you can do that. Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't make a stack of money. Again, need a good build team on that, and you need to understand your prices and your margins really well. But that's the same with any deal you do. Thanks for the link. You're very welcome. Happy to give you the link. You know that, mate. Always nice to chat to you. There we go, guys. Got a question? Have you got a question you want me to answer? We've rattled through a few today, and it's actually already hit 9 o'clock. So that's brilliant. Now, I don't know whether you've been here from the start when I jumped on at 8:30. If you haven't, I'll remind you that it's the last BRR Boardroom for the foreseeable future, certainly for a few months. This Saturday, Heathrow. Parking's all paid for. Got your nice lunch, paid for that too. We'll have a whole day on me sharing stuff about BRR, and it will, if you haven't been exposed to this before, it will blow your mind, and no exaggeration. What you can actually do with finance is unbelievable, and almost no one knows it. There you go. Yeah, morning, Mel. How you doing? For barn conversions, it's worth building a relationship with the local authority planners first. has their own briefs, so make sure you account for their spec. Yeah, okay. You know, probably build control as well, because it's the build control officer that's really gonna you're really gonna have to get on side. You'd also need to check whether it's in a conservation area, because there's a conservation officer that you need to be pally with as well. So yeah. But again, as I say, in the last 10 years, planners have got less involved with that if it's got permitted development rights. So they're not quite so involved now as they would have been. You're right. Yeah, Carluccio's is the restaurant at the Marriott at Heathrow, which is where we are on Saturday. And you've experienced the lunch in Carluccio's, and it is nice. Yeah, there we are. So you want to come and thanks for that big up of the lunch. You didn't mention the content of the day, but you talked about the lunch. Yeah, they all fall out with each other. Yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah. You get the listed building officer and the conservation officer and the building building regs. Yeah, we were talking about that Saturday, weren't we? At that implementation day meeting, we're at Saturday, where Richard was saying that they've all fallen out with each other. Yeah. So, morning. Yeah, morning, Mel. Good to see you on Saturday. And so there we are. Yeah. So yeah. Got a question, but got to be quick because I'm going to be off soon. It's got stuff to do. Got a busy day. Got to get down to Stratford-on-Avon, ready for the 2 Ninja Achievers cohort accountability days, Tuesday and Wednesday. Tomorrow and Wednesday. But got a question? Fire it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll have to wait. But of course, you can come. You can always pop a question into my. Is that the one? No, that's the book. Got so many links this morning. Here we are. You can always pop a question. If you can't wait until next Monday, pop it into get on Facebook /groups /recycling cash. Everyone can join, free to join. Well, everyone can join. Not if you're a scammer. If you're a scammer, I'm going to boot you out. And I do get them, and I do boot. In fact, I booted one out this morning. But yeah, if you've got a question in the meantime, fire it into Recycle Cash. I'm in there every day. I'll have a look and I'll give you an answer. But there we are. Good. And P-Pain, we'll connect after this. There we are. And really appreciate your interaction this morning. Thanks for that. So, if you want to grab one of those last 4 tickets to the BRR Boardroom on Saturday and jump on board so that I can do the sessions with you, the pre-event Zoom sessions, they run 7 till 9. BRR Deal Finder, which is particularly what P-Pain's interested in. Yep. So, have we got any more questions? Because if we haven't, I'll be going. Good. What do you cover in the BRR book? Yeah, John. It's the written format of what you're learning already on the digital training. Yeah. So it's not a radically different subject. It's just the same content for people that like to read it rather than watch it. So there we are. Why don't you have a look? You can put that link in there earlier. There we are. It's, you know, you could say it's another way to get the same message out there. You know, different mediums. You know, it's probably not as comprehensive in terms of taking action as the digital training modules that you've had access to for the last few months, John. But there it is, recyclecash.co.uk/BRR-book. It's a chunky hardback, so you know. Now, Why did I do it hardback? You might be thinking. Well, you know my phrase, observe the masses and do the opposite. So I've observed the masses of property books and done the opposite, because they're all paperbacks. I teach you guys to observe the masses of property investors and do the opposite. And in my training programs, I observe the masses of property trainers and do the opposite, and the same with my mentorship programs. So when I got around to writing a book, I observed the masses of property authors, property book authors, did the opposite. They all do it in paperback. So I'm not going to do that, am I? I'm going to do it in hardback. There you go. It's a nice chunky book. Let me know if you buy it, and let me know what you think of it. Appreciate that, John. Good. Hey, got a question? We're just at the last knock-ins now, and I'm keeping my eye on that chat box, which is just to my right. It comes up on my screen. And yeah, what do you want to know? And if you don't want to know, wait till the next time. We'll come back and do another Q&A. Let's say, in the meantime, put a question in my Recycle Cash book, not book, Recycle Cash Facebook group. There we go. Good. Okay. So I think it's time to wrap up, guys. So as always, had a good time answering questions, seen a few familiar faces. Well, not the faces, but I've seen a few familiar people. Always good to interact with them. So thanks to you for participating in that. Seen some new people. There we are. So looking forward to drilling down deeper with P Payne today. So there we go. Hey, have a great week. Catch you next week.